Michael, you finished pre-season with a 1-0 victory here against Newcastle United. How would you assess today's performance?
Very pleased with a lot of what we saw today against very good opposition, and our attitude to the game was first class. We had to defend for periods in the game, which is what we wanted, and I thought we did that extremely well. And we attacked at the right moments as well, and scored an excellent goal. Probably had other chances where we could have maybe been a little bit more clinical, but equally we restricted the opposition to very few chances. So it was an extremely good workout.
You mentioned Sam Lucas's goal there. Was that something that you'd worked on in training?
Well, I think it's not so much we worked on it training. I think when you come to play a Premier League team that you're going to have to, defend as we did, but we knew where we'd have to break, and we felt we could always get out on the opposite side, which we did with Tommy Smith. He picked out an excellent cross, and Sam's at his best, when he's arriving in the box, and he showed it again with a great finish.
When you take today's performance with that against Leeds United, and then do you feel as though you've got better as pre-season's gone on?
Yeah, I think that's natural. You've got to recognise we've had a lot of players in our dressing room who've been in the Premier League at one point or another in their career. So maybe, without being disrespectful, when we play against the teams, League One teams, for example, and the game's a bit slower, we don't see us at our best. Today, the game was quick, and it had to be quick because the opposition make you play quick, and when we play quick, we're a much better team. Still a lot of work to do. The 3-5-2 system, we look, again, very, very sure on that. I think with the players we have in the club at this minute in time, it suits us, and we just have to continue to work on it.
I suppose in pre-season you've looked pretty solid defensively. I suppose the key now is to take that into the season.
Yeah, of course. We've I think we conceded against Burton, I think, a goal off a set piece, which was poor, but otherwise, we've looked good, and we conceded a penalty against Shrewsbury, clean sheet against Leeds, and a clean sheet here today, clean sheet against Linfield, and that's what we need. We didn't have enough of that last season, but we're also a threat going forward, and I think with the players we brought into the club, like John Obi, certainly will help us in that system. Stephen Fletcher will help us. I thought the front two today were excellent as well. Vokes and Gregory were superb, and I think for some of our players, they're more suited to play, and that we're trying to find the right sort of combination to help players. I think Lee Gregory's better when he plays in a two, for example. Sam Vokes the same. So sometimes the system you play is governed by the players you have in the building, but the response we've had from the players has been excellent.
You mentioned Lee Gregory and Sam Vokes there. They're the front two that you finished last season. Mm-hmm. But they give you a real platform to build on, don't they?
Yeah, they have. They finished the season very strong, and they've already in pre-season, like Sam's only played really 2 games. He's had 2:45 against Leeds, and then what he played today. Lee, had a second child, so he missed the pre-season trip to Linfield, or to Belfast rather, and the Linfield game. So yeah, but they've picked up where they left off, and that's what we want: competition for places, and you need options at the top end of the pitch, and you need quality.
With a week to go until the first game of the season away at Millwall, are you pretty confident of what your team will be now, having completed pre-season?
Yeah, I think we know what we'll go into the season and start with, and I think the players we brought into the club have made the squad stronger, no doubt about that. Stronger squad. I think added quality to the squad as well. Morgan Fox, I thought, was very good today at left wing back as well, and so yeah, we know, I think, in our head what we'll start with. But the thing that pleased me the most in pre-season is probably the impact the younger players are now starting to have in the starting 11. Josh Tyman, Tashan, Oakley Booth, Tyrese Campbell, the 2 young centre backs, Suter and Collins. So those are 3, 4, 5 players that we can bring into the team, and we won't weaken the team by doing so.
Stephen Fletcher hasn't been involved in the last couple of games. What's the current situation with him?
He just had a little bit of a tight groin, so we didn't want to. We could have brought him up here today and played for 20 minutes, but he did a good session yesterday, and he did a good session today with the fitness people. And we knew when we signed him that it would take us a couple of weeks to get him up to speed, and that's natural. But again, he brings real quality, and with the players at these different stages, and when they come in, we just have to make sure that we look after them.
And Ryan Shawcross was unfortunately forced off early on against Leeds United. What's the current situation with him as well?
Well, he played today in the under-23s. He had it wasn't as bad as what we first feared. And Ryan just has to get through that mental barrier of playing again, which is always natural when you've been out injured. But look, he's trained extremely hard, and he just needs a good run of luck, Ryan, where he gets a lot of games, training minutes under his belt, and games, and I've no doubt that he'll come back and be ready to play.
On the transfer front, Lassie Sorensen's joined MK Dons. That should be a good loan move for him.
Yeah, it is. Lass is, a very promising young player. We signed, obviously, we're strong in the middle of the pitch. We see Nick Powell playing in there more so now for us as well, and that makes it more difficult for Lass to get an opportunity. And so, it's important we don't hinder his development in any way, and send him out to League One, and MK Dons is a good place for him to get a lot of game time. And when he comes back, hopefully he'll be pushed to be a starting player.
In terms of any other further ins and outs, where you're currently at with that?
Well, we've no further ins at the minute, and as far as I'm away, there's nothing happening with the players that I think people know who need to possibly look for a new club. But as I say, there's no further updates on any of that at the moment.